I'm Dr. Farhad Saba, Professor of Educational Technology at San Diego State University and the moderator of today's program. Between 1977 and 1994, North America and various other regions of the world saw a new boom in births that signaled the end of Generation X. This large new generation is commanding today the attention of major business and public institutions around the world. Known as the Millennial generation, aged 11 to 28 in 2005, it accounts for 30% of the total global population of over 6 billion people. In the United States alone, the millennial young and adult are estimated at 80 million, already rivaling the post-war baby boomer generation in numbers and influence. This strategic video conference will present an overview of the millennial generation in terms of its demographics, aspirations, purchasing preferences, socioeconomic behavior, participation in the labor force, cultural traits, and global impact. Its highly developed individualism makes them a heavily segmented market requiring niche strategies to be able to reach and serve them effectively. The distinguished invited speaker will present generational statistics based on the well-known publications discussing potential survey studies and global trends of this new youth generation, which will increasingly become the most influential population group of the third millennium within education, business, government, and civil society. In a module entitled The Millennial Generation, Characteristics and Impact, our distinguished expert, Ms. Susan Mitchell, will present eye-opening statistics about the millennial generation and analyze the impact of this demographic reality on other groups of people worldwide. She will further provide you with extremely useful and somewhat surprising information about various characteristics of the millennial generation, including their diversity, multiculturalism, level of educational attainment, and other similar interesting and important features. In another module titled The Millennial Generation, Technology and Global Dynamics, Ms. Mitchell will offer new insights about the relation between the millennials and technology, culture, language, individualism, and a host of other important elements such as their global outlook and multilingualism, which are essential for understanding the emerging business, organizational climate, and family structure of the 21st century. Susan Mitchell is an author and lecturer specializing in demographic as well as social and consumer trends. Her articles have appeared in numerous publications, and she is frequently cited as a trend expert in national media, including Time Magazine, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and the Los Angeles Times. She has appeared on The Today Show, MSNBC, Fox News Network, and Oprah to discuss the baby boom and generational issues. Ms. Mitchell is the author of several demographic reference books, including American Attitudes and Generation X, the Young Adult Market. Her most recent book, American Generations, examines the demographics of the 5 living generations of Americans: millennials, Generation X, baby boomers, the swing generation, and the World War II generation. Ms. Mitchell frequently speaks to and consults with business and other organizations about generational issues. She has spoken at conferences and seminars for Burger King, Cigna, Motorola, and the International Interior Design Association, among others. She recently presented a paper at the McCormick Tribune Foundation Center for Strategic and International Studies Cantinghi Conference Series on the youth population in an aging America, social, political, and economic implications. A former contributing editor for American Demographics and former editor of the Boomer Report, a newsletter tracking the baby boom generation, Ms. Mitchell has done extensive research on the demographics and lifestyles of the different generations. She has a BS degree in psychology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Thank you and welcome to today's program. Let me ask you a question which actually has two parts. Throughout recent history, with the advent of new telecommunications and ubiquity of telecommunication actually, various generations have always seemed to be different in significant ways. What makes the current mix of population particularly unique and challenging for business, education, and government? And the other part of my question deals with the migration pattern among the new millennials, the flow of migration around the world.
The mix of generations is related to the time at which they come of age, they grow up. And what's happened in the last 100 years is we've had more change and we've had more rapid change than we've ever had before. And each change has produced a new environment, and within that environment, each generation has developed unique characteristics. So that today we have generations that represent 100 years of change. As for global migration, we also have younger generations who are simply more used to crossing international boundaries, even if they do it from home, even if they never leave their desk. They have global media and the internet, and they have a degree of comfort with an international perspective and with a global economy and a global world culture that older adults simply don't have.
And the migration patterns?
I think that what has happened is that they are relating to each other. The young adults have a lot in common, a lot of common cultural reference points, and that enables them to move more freely into new areas than older adults might be able to do so, because they're simply more comfortable and more familiar with a global environment.
Great. Thank you for your insightful response. Let's begin with your important messages.